What's going on, everyone? This is Ace, and welcome once again to The Reckoning. And first and foremost, I just want to say thank you. Thank you all so much for checking out the channel and playing a part in getting us to 1,000 subscribers. Honestly, it's incredible and wonderful that we can grow and build our community and love for Lady Death and the characters of Chaos and Coffin comics. Honestly, that's been my entire inspiration of why I wanted to start this channel, and I don't plan on losing that. This channel is where we can come together and discuss these characters and stories and worlds and just enjoy them. For several years, there just didn't seem to be a centralized presence on YouTube, and I wanted to create a space for the Sworn, and I'm happy you all have found your way here. So I am eternally grateful for you and your love for this channel. Seeing as we are all Sworn and Fiends here, and even if you are a newcomer that just stop on by, you are always welcome. And for starters, I want to share with all of you a new series of videos that I will be looking at doing sporadically titled Let the Fiends Speak. So here is what I'm thinking, you guys, and you all can let me know your thoughts, but essentially Let the Fiends Speak will be videos where I will be sharing the letter columns and fan pages from the original Chaos comics. Now, my reasoning is that, here on The Reckoning, we focus a lot on story and characters, and I love that, truly. That is my bread and butter. But in a way, I also want to showcase in the modern kind of internet era the love and dedication and thoughts of the OG original fans who were there from the beginning. And then serving as kind of like a continuation of this series, I would like to do the same with all of you, sharing your thoughts, your questions, your frustrations, your collections, your artwork, whatever you would like, but above all, share our appreciation for Lady Death and the other characters that Coffin has created under the banner of Let the Fiends Speak. So we, in a way, can join the two generations of fans. But that is my wish and goal with this series, and obviously it'll be some time before I can, kind of think of a way to streamline this process, but I think it would be incredibly fun to do. Because, as I mentioned, overall, I want this channel to be a place for us. But I've rambled on long enough, and so, one more time, thank you. Thank you so much for your support. Yoroshiku onegaishimasu. Maraming salamat. Gracias. Sworn. So, for episode 1 of Let the Fiends Speak, we will be starting with Evil Ernie issue 0 from 1993 and under Chaos Comics. And it looks like there is an introductory note before we get to the letters. And so it states, "Hello Fiends, we certainly hope this evil issue will fill you with Christmas cheer. It warmed our little evil hearts conceiving it for you." For those of you that are new to Evil, welcome. Before we get into our letters, I wanted to bring up a couple of things. First, our less than timely delivery for Chaos Comics. We were using a printer who didn't usually print comics. We had all 4 issues of the Resurrection ready to go before number 1 came out. Honest, but these boneheads took up to 25 working days to get the book out. Now we are using comic book printers who understand how important it is to get this stuff out on time. We also get a lot of mail requesting a personal reply. We are trying our best, but it takes a while. Bear with us. Final note, from here on, anyone who gets their letter printed as Letter of the Month will get a premium edition of Evil Ernie number 1 Gold or Evil Ernie number 0 Platinum. Now onward. Okay, so kind of a cool little introductory note. I'm assuming, guys, that this is Brian Pulido, a much younger Brian Pulido at this time, and it's kind of interesting, a little insight on there. So it sounds like probably the year throughout this year, this would have been December 1993. So it sounds like as they were trying to pump out Evil Ernie the Resurrection storyline, it sounds like there was some delays. The printer they were using, because again, mind you, Brian Pulido and Stephen Hughes and the whole team, they are independent in every sense of the word. This is not Image, like we know it now. This is them kind of like, in the thick of it, front lines. They got to come up with everything, and so it looks like they originally had signed up with a printer of some kind, but just someone who had not done comic books and just printed other materials, but now switching over to someone who's a little bit more experienced in the business. I don't know who they ended up going with at the time, but very interesting to say the least, in that he's at least letting the Fiends know, kind of like, hey, sorry, this is what's been going on, but it should be fixed. And I love the fact that they're offering incentives. Letter of the Month gets a Evil Ernie number 1 Gold. I will need to find out what that is, because I'm not even for sure. Now, the Evil Ernie number 0 Platinum I have seen. Unfortunately, I don't own a copy yet, but you best believe that is in the works of me hunting down. But yeah, I think that's pretty awesome note there. And so moving forward to the letters. And so starting with the first letter here. Dear everyone, Evil Ernie is so cool. Thank God for comics like this for those of us who don't like Superman, etc. I was pestering my comic dealers as soon as I read Evil Ernie the Resurrection was afoot, and it's the best. When I read it, I had to laugh when I saw Lady Death. My friends used to call me that in high school. Here's my list of what I listened to while reading Double E: King Diamond, Megadeth, Slayer, Steve Vai, White Zombie, and Anthrax. Shall I continue? I could write books. From Melissa Finaldi, Port Reading, New Jersey. And most likely Brian's reply is, yeah, what's up with comics these days? All these geeks running around with capes and spandex. Now, while I dig Captain America, okay, so this is definitely Brian. If I saw that dude on the street with that red, white, and blue outfit, I'd have to laugh. Coincidentally, Chaos will be unleashing its own brand of superheroes in several insane miniseries, The Lynch Mob and Killzone, next summer. These guys will be super, but I don't know if they're gonna be heroes. And yes, now if you guys don't know, Killzone and The Lynch Mob, and there is, I think, a couple other ones. I think it might be called Rack and Pain. These are titles under Chaos Comics, but they are not within the same continuity of Lady Death, Evil Ernie, Purgatory, Chastity, all of that. That is the, I guess if you want to call it, Chaos universe, and these other stories, that kind of exist in their own realm, so not necessarily connected. But yes, going on to the next letter. Dear Chaos, I just finished reading the first 3 issues of The Resurrection, and all I can say is, whoa, fantastic. It's sure to be a classic. Hell, it already is. I have been working for Diamond Comic Distributors for the past 3 months, and I ran across The Resurrection purely by mistake. The rest is history. Anyways, the real reason I'm writing is to ask you, how can I pick up the first Evil Ernie series? Can I get them through Chaos? Thanks, and keep up the good work. Jeff Whitfield, from Spring, Texas. Okay, and then the reply we have here is, we get a lot of letters asking about the issues from the first Black and White Evil Ernie miniseries. Unfortunately, Fiends, we ain't got none. We just published the first series, Youth Gone Wild, as a graphic novel last month. Those early issues are impossible to find. We suggest raiding back issue type comic stores. Good luck. Now, yeah, this is true. More than likely what Jeff here was referring to is the original Evil Ernie run, Youth Gone Wild. This would have been, I think, 5-part issues, I want to say. Malibu, I believe so, yes, or Eternity. One of those. But yeah, this was before the formation of Chaos. This was Brian and Stephen Hughes' first tale, and even to this day they are quite pricey. Now, several of the sworn will happily post their graded issues or their single issues that they preserve as like grails in their collection, and admittedly I would love to get my hands on these as well one day, but because I own several versions of the trade paperback, and then of course the Necrophile editions that they re-released eventually, I'm pretty satisfied with those. I don't know if I have to have original copies of Youth Gone Wild, but you best believe if I get the chance and the opportunity comes up, I would also want to snatch one of those, because it's just a piece of Chaos history that I would, or Evil Ernie history I should say, that I would love to own. Okay, now the next letter. Dear Chaos Knights, I recently met you guys at Franklin Mills Mall in Pennsylvania while you were out on tour. Let me say that you guys were some of the wildest fiends I ever met. You weren't even jerks like a lot of the guys I met in the comic industry. Oh man. Now, about your comic, it's the most gut-wrenching, bile spilling, blood curdling, mind scrambling comic that I ever saw. Love it. Phil Ludovic, New Jersey. All right. Oh man, so it sounds like Phil here has had not the best experience with some of the comic professionals, and this would have been 1993. So yeah, I wonder who he might be referring to. But yeah, and then their response. You know, by now some of you fiends out there might be wondering, why don't these guys print mail where people hate the book? Truth is, we haven't received any yet, and when we do, we'll send old evil after them. That was a joke for all the PMRC and PTA types out there. Again, with anything and over time, I think we may see some critiques, because obviously, you know, that's just the way any kind of fandom is. You're gonna have likes and dislikes. I myself, as you guys know, my one of my first videos was the critique of the current state of Purgatory and kind of a sneak preview of what's coming up. I have a little bit more to say on some other announced title about that, so be on the lookout. But like anything, critiques will happen. People will be disappointed. Frustrations will come up. But for the most part, at this point in time, the letter's been received is a sense of positivity. People are really loving the stuff that Brian and Steven are putting out. And so then this next one is the Fiend Letter of the Month. Okay, so this was one that they just, I'm assuming it was just picked by the staff at Chaos of like the one they liked that month. And it reads this: Dear Chaos, I have been a fan of Evil Ernie since I read the preview column out of the comic in Fangoria back in 1991. My copies of the first series are far from mint condition since I've read them over and over again. I read almost exclusively independent comics because companies like Chaos refuse to adhere to some outdated code or pander to a collector's mentality. I also like the idea of being able to take an original concept like Evil Ernie and running with it without some editor looking over your shoulder and censoring it for the sake of censorship. I stopped by the Chaos booth at the San Diego Comic-Con and was surprised at how nice I was treated by everyone there. I bought an Evil Ernie ash can and was showered by free posters, stickers, and awesome chromium promo card, all of which was signed on the spot. Stephen Hughes, Mark Morales, Roman Morales, and Brian Polito all took the time to talk to me and answer some of my questions. Even your contribution to the annual blood drive was better than any of the other company's freebies. In contrast, I was pushed and shoved and stepped on by the mindless fanboy sphinster suckers that stamped through booths sponsored by Marvel, DC, Malibu, and worst of all, Image. Not only that, but most of the pros at the booths acted like they would rather be somewhere else, then signing a few autographs for the people who really pay their checks. This just reinforced my undying allegiance to Chaos and other companies that know how to treat the fans with respect and how to do things right. Your future projects like the Lynch Mob, Killzone, Crawler, and most of all Lady Death look like they're gonna be killer. In closing, let me thank you all for the cool adventures of Evil Ernie and his buddies, and especially for the great treatment at the animal house they call the San Diego Comic-Con. Tim Tabile, San Diego, California. And the response is, dude, thanks for the cool letter. We had a blast at San Diego. Join us there again next year. We have some wicked tricks up our sleeve for that one. Now this letter is pretty interesting too. We get a lot of insight here. So we really truly are, guys, in young early Chaos days. And if maybe some of you haven't noticed, but we're in 1993. Lady Death issue 1, that would be coming out in 1994. Right? We haven't even gotten issue 1 of Lady Death at this point. This is still like, she is still like an announced project coming our way. So little did Tim know that this would be the start of an entire expanded universe, a journey that would be all the way leading up to Coffin Comics now. So we really are in the workings of it, which is truly something special. Evil Ernie is a hit. He's a success. He's getting to the audiences that love that kind of storytelling and that kind of horror element. And yeah, people are eating it up. The other thing too that maybe if you guys are interested, we'll get into, but a lot of talk and excitement about Brian and Steven's upcoming projects that eventually, again, like I mentioned earlier, would be outside of the Evil Ernie, Lady Death, Purgatory kind of canon, because they are outside of that. So like stories like the Lynch Mob, Killzone, and now Crawler I'm not familiar with. This is the first time I'm hearing about Crawler. I'll have to look into that one. But yeah, those three, maybe if you guys are interested, we'll dive into those as well. Yeah, so it's just kind of cool to see these kind of early, again, this early excitement of what's yet to hit the stores. One thing also that I will be doing, I don't think I mentioned it in the ending of, or in the beginning of this video, but all the artwork that you're seeing here was artwork that was sent in at this time of this printing. So I'm sharing on the screen here because yes, just like these letters, I want to showcase the fan artwork, and some of them are definitely fans, and then I don't know if it's just like timing, but I think I also noticed some people that would eventually work either professionally or just kind of doing indie comics. But yeah, some of this artwork is pretty dang good. And so I hope you guys are enjoying that. But yeah, those pieces were shared, and then I love when publishers will do this. Basically, music to read Evil Ernie by, right? And there's been several other issues like music to read this issue by from other publishers, like I think Valiant had done it before. I don't know if Marvel and DC ever did it, but yeah, when you read a comic book and they give you like kind of like a soundtrack that like they suggest you listen to, that I always dig that because I'm such an avid music fan. I love discovering new artists, and so for this Evil Ernie issue, they said music to read Evil Ernie by Fight, by War of the Words, Cypress Hill, Black Sunday, which that one record I'm very familiar with. Go check that record out, it's amazing. White Zombie, La Sexo Cristo. Now, I did bump that one just the other day, and yeah, I dig it. It was pretty sick sound. And then Tool, Undertow. By all means, guys, give those records a check out, and maybe you'll discover some new music. And the Fiends of the Month. So these are, for whatever reason, these fiends were nominated as Fiends of the Month. Frank Carrera, Tim Tobias, who wrote our letter previously, and Javier Munoz Jr. And then we'll finish things off with kind of like, looks like a little note from Brian about what's up and coming. So it says, next trick up our sleeve. Watch for Lady Death #1. Oh man, what an exciting time. With a breathtaking chromium cover. Learn how a woman named Hope transforms into the female personification of death. Anything you think you knew about the diva of death, forget. Also, watch for Evil Ernie Alien Evil, appearing in February in Nightcry #1, published by Cry for Dawn. It's a weird story even by my own warped standards. Peace. Brian Polito. Now, this is exciting. So, I don't know if I've mentioned this before. I think I have, but if you guys don't know, Dawn, Cry for Dawn, those stories by Joseph Michael Linzer, I absolutely adore. I love. Now, I will say I don't necessarily resonate so much with a lot of the content, but I do appreciate the stories that were in there. I thought, they are very kind of coming from a place of kind of dark, maybe a bit cynical at the time. And then in Dawn's kind of solo series, it becomes a little bit more kind of, I guess you could call it dark fantasy, and kind of a little bit of like mixed in with like, there's like some religious aspects to it. There's also a blend of Fist of the North Star. So yeah, I really enjoy Joseph Michael Linzer has done with the character Dawn, and of course his artwork. I cannot get enough of his artwork. But anyways, I say all that because in the off branch of this, they came out with a series of Nightcry, which I think are like anthology books that would have like elements of horror, and it looks like Brian went ahead and created a story called Evil Ernie Alien Evil, which maybe I'll share with you here on the channel at some point. Awesome, incredible stuff to see where they would be at this time. And with that, this concludes the first episode of Let the Fiends Speak. I hope you guys enjoyed it as much as I did creating it, as I love tapping into this history and just sometimes to visualize how it would have been. But again, thank you for just not checking out another video like you always do, but for being here and getting us to 1,000. Let's see how much we can grow and spread the love for Lady Death and her world. So as always, I will see you all very, very soon, and until next time, take care.